Om Shanti. Om Shanti means I'm a peaceful soul. So greetings of peace to each and every one of you present today. Well, we wish you all, the inner space and the Brahma Kumaris, wish you a warm welcome to the art of relaxation and meditation by our guest speaker, Brother Yogesh Sharda. Meditation is coming into vogue very fast. Perhaps one of the factors is that since December last, UN declared a day for meditation. An interesting fact is that in our practice, we call it not just meditation, we call it Raja Yoga meditation. As we'll be celebrating Yoga Day next Saturday, we invite you to have an avant-garde of the theme through Brother Yogesh. We posted a brief profile of Brother Yogesh in our invitation and a quote on meditation. So let me have a recap for Brother Yogesh. Brother Yogesh is a highly experienced international personal development trainer and workshop facilitator, presenting seminars and courses on stress-free living, the principles of inner leadership, emotional intelligence, and many, many more. For over 20 years throughout Europe, the UK, the Middle East, Southeast Asia, Australasia, the USA, Central and South America. Brother Dinesh, can you increase the volume? They say it's not being heard there. Southeast Asia, Australasia, the USA, Central and South America, the Caribbean, and India. He oversees at present, since the last 20 years or so, overseeing the activities of Brahma Kumaris in Turkey. So coming to the subject of the day, we say, rule the mind and you will rule the universe. To add a personal touch to Brother Yogesh's introduction, I would say I have been personally highly inspired. You know why? By the way he has mastered the art of meditation, and as part of the result, he has mastered his mind. He is ever centered, stable, poised, calm, and above all carries himself in a regal demeanor. I'm sure each one of you present today will catch some spiritual wisdom to take away with you. So, the floor to you, brother. Welcome. You have a mic already there.
So, hello, good morning, everyone. And, can you hear me okay? All right. So first, thank you to Gayatri Ben for a very warm and generous introduction. I hope I am worthy of that. And it's true that I have been in this study and practice of Raj Yoga meditation for most of my life. Since I was around 8 or 9 years old, I came into this study. And as I grew up, I was surprised at one thing, that how little attention people pay to their inner world. Now we have an outer world that we live in, but also there's an inner world. So the outer world is the world of our family, our travel, study, career, and so on. And of course that's important. But additionally, there is the inner world of our thoughts, our emotions, our beliefs, our perceptions, etc. And I found that people were giving the majority of their attention to the outer world and relatively little to the inner world. And I believe due to this imbalance between the two, we have the stresses and strains which we experience in life today. And also I think the same thing is responsible for the global scenario. If we're able to take better care of our inner self, to manage our thoughts, our emotions, then it cascades out into our relationships, the way we work, the way we live with others. So what we'll be exploring for the next little while together is some ideas about the mind, how to take better care of the mind, and how to build meditation into our daily practice. So, is that okay? Yeah. I was wondering earlier that I know it's a working day today, and I wondered, doesn't anybody work in Mauritius? Then I understood maybe it's your lunchtime stretched over a couple of hours or so. So we have called our session today about the art of relaxation and meditation. And of course, being in an art center, it's appropriate to explore this as an art form. And I do believe that the greatest of all arts is the ability to know how to use your thought energy appropriately and effectively. Now all art, whichever that art takes, is a reflection of what's happening within the artist's mind. And if I know how to handle my mind well, I'll be able to reach levels of creativity within my own self. So the mind produces thoughts, the mind produces emotions, and the mind produces an attitude. But to be able to know which kind of thought, which attitude is appropriate for which situation is a form of using the mind as an artist. Now, just as an artist will know which paint to use in which scenario, which paints to mix together to create a painting, in the same way, if I consider my mind to be like a resource and my thoughts to be like paint, can I choose the thoughts I wish to apply in different situations? So for example, when I fail at something, what kind of thoughts or attitudes are appropriate in that situation? When I am criticized, what sort of thoughts are relevant and meaningful to handle that? When I'm opposed, when I'm ignored, when I'm successful, when I'm praised, what sort of thoughts are appropriate and meaningful? All of this is the art of knowing how to use my thought energy well. Now, why is the mind important? Because largely, in pretty much everything we explore in life, everything is a mind game. Take sport, for example. A big part of sport, especially individual sports like tennis, it's a mind game. One has to know how to motivate myself, how to focus. And if you double fault, for example, when you're serving in tennis, you need to be able to forget that and focus on the next point. Business is also a mind game. Politics is certainly a mind game. Relationships are a mind game. And so when we understand how to take good care of the mind, we know how to use that thought energy effectively and economically. Now, the mind also has a mechanism by which it works. Now, think of any piece of technology that you may buy, whether it's a mobile phone or a laptop, even a car. But what comes along with that piece of technology? What do you get in the box with the mobile phone? Yeah. Yes, you get a user manual. And that tells you how to use it correctly and also how to maintain it. And so the question arises, where is the user manual for the mind? How are you supposed to use it well? And so we tend to launch ourselves into life misusing our mind, and the result of that is we experience stress, tension, and other difficult emotions like anger, maybe depression, jealousy, and so on. Simply put, it's a little bit like this, that here is me, and over here is life. And life means people, situations, and circumstances. And mostly what we do is we try to control life, especially controlling the people in our lives, believing that if I can control the people in my life, I will be secure, I'll be peaceful, I'll be relaxed. But here is the news that you cannot control life. You cannot even control one other person in your life. If you do try, then you will experience a huge amount of stress. But what we learn in meditation and self-awareness is that between me and life, there is my mind. And if I can bring my mind under my control, life will not be able to stress me. That, in a nutshell, is the art of relaxation and meditation. So I think we can finish there. Thanks for coming. But why it's a challenge is because we have such a deep habit in trying to control life, situations, people, events, and so on. And making that shift from trying to control the outside to developing greater self-control, that's the challenge. That's the habit we need to break. And it's for this reason that we feel it's important to study and practice meditation regularly. Is anybody here for the first time for a Brahma Kumari's event? Okay, just a couple of you. And who here already does some kind of meditation? Quite a few. And who here is a meditator? And who is wondering what's the difference between the two? Many people do meditation as a way to de-stress, to calm down, to handle the challenges of life. And for some people this may be enough. But to be a meditator means it's a lifestyle. And that means as you go through day-to-day life, one part of you is naturally aware or vigilant or checking to see what am I doing with my thought energy. Now take the example of an athlete. Now for an athlete who wants to be the winner in the Olympics, to win the gold medal, for example, eating healthy is a lifestyle. Because for an athlete, maintaining optimum weight is essential. And so no matter what you offer an athlete to eat, first she or he will be aware, is it my time to eat? What do I eat? How much do I eat? When do I eat? There's a natural awareness. Eating healthy is a lifestyle for an athlete. In the same way, to be a meditator is a bit like being a mental athlete. And that means as you pass through day-to-day life, traveling to work, in the traffic, in the office, in the supermarket, even at home, wherever you may be, but one part of you is aware or is vigilant to check, what am I doing with my thought power? Am I wasting this precious, precious fuel of thought energy? Am I overthinking? Am I recycling useless memories from the past? Am I imagining the worst in the future? Am I worrying? And why this is important? Because meditators understand the most precious thing we have is our thought power. And when we overthink, then what happens? The mind becomes tired. And when the mind is tired, patience level goes down. Tolerance level goes down. The ability to understand somebody also suffers. And then we make a small thing into a huge issue, and life is no fun when we are lost in problems. But when we learn to economize our thought power, then life is very, very different. I would say that your entire life is a reflection of how you are choosing to spend your thought energy. The important word, spend. Now, we should have that attitude towards using our thought energy and also word energy as we do to spending the money in our pockets. Let's say, for example, you see something in a shop, a nice jacket or a hat, and you would like to have it. What would you do before you buy it? Yeah, I mean, I do. I don't know if you do, but I check the price first. Maybe you don't. Which means I'm asking myself, am I prepared to let go of this much money in order to have this thing? Why? Because we value our money. Therefore, we want to see the price first. In the same way, we need to value our verbal energy and even our thought energy. How much am I prepared to spend to think about a situation or to prove my point or to win an argument? Is it worth it? And so the life of a meditator is essentially giving importance to my inner environment. And here's a guarantee that if I pay more attention to my thought energy usage, everything in my life will upgrade. A guarantee. My peace of mind will become more stable. My happiness will become deeper. My capacity to love will increase. Also, my physical health will be positively impacted. My relationships will stabilize. And also my work performance will improve too. Why? Because life is essentially a mind game. And it's time for us to bring this to the top of our priority list. Look after the mind. Now, let's go a little bit deeper into understanding how to do this and the benefits that appear in our lives In order to lead a wholesome or happy life, it does require some intelligence. So, question, are you intelligent? Can't see too many hands going. I'm just, thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay. Well, intelligence, of course, is one of those words which takes on new meanings. I know, for example, everybody talks about AI these days, but we'll put that to one side for now. But let's look at 4 types of intelligence and see how meditation is involved here. So the one we're most used to hearing about is, of course, IQ. Rational intelligence, logic, reason, analysis, and so on. And mostly when people spoke about somebody being very intelligent or scoring high on an IQ test, it was this intelligence that they referred to. Next one up is known as IC. And that stands for a person's intuitive capacity. And that is your ability to listen to your inner wisdom, to listen to your inner voice. Every single person, every single individual has something called inner wisdom. And it is trying to guide us in our daily life. But for most people, they cannot hear it because the mind is too noisy. Chattering, chattering, chattering all the time. Most people are physically in one place, but mentally somewhere else. Are you here? Okay, a little bit maybe. But for most, because the mind is so noisy, it's a bit like trying to hear a voice in a storm. You know something is there, but you can't quite understand what is being said. And it's here that practices like guided imagery, creative visualization, meditation are extremely useful to make the mind quiet. So when the mind is quiet, I can listen to my inner wisdom. So before going further, let's now do our first little exercise to experience relaxation and calmness of the mind. This is a very simple beginner's exercise, which is a creative visualization. So I'd request you, if you'd like to, just have your back straight and your feet flat on the floor. And good timing, do make sure your electronic baby is asleep, your mobile phone. And you can just have your hands resting gently on your legs if that's okay for you. I will speak out a simple guiding commentary. And for this particular exercise, you may close your eyes if you wish. And it just takes a few minutes. So we sit to relax the body and also to relax the mind. In these next few minutes, I want to experience the calmness, the stillness, the peace which is deep inside me. There is a world outside of me, and there is also a world inside me. the world outside is the world of action, the world of sound and movement. It is the world of doing. And I cannot control the world outside of me. But there is also a world inside me, and that is the world of my thoughts, my feelings, my experiences. And the world inside is in my own hands. My thoughts create my feelings, and I can choose the thoughts I wish to create. And so now, just bring your attention up towards your face. Bring your attention to the center of your forehead. And here, at the center of your forehead, picture a small room. And this tiny room in the center of your forehead is your quiet room of peace. Just to visualize this very pleasant, quiet room of peace in the center of your forehead. And this is your private and personal space. This is the place where you can be yourself. Inside your quiet room, you are relaxed. Inside your quiet room, you feel safe. You feel secure. You can let go of your daily roles and responsibilities. Inside your quiet room, you are free from the pressures and the demands of the outside world. Feel the stillness and the wonderful silence of your quiet room. just allow your mind to absorb this atmosphere of serenity, tranquility. And as you do so, the thoughts begin to slow down. The mind becomes calm, quiet, relaxed, peaceful, stable, silent, strong, still, and free. Just be with this feeling of peace in your mind for 1 minute. Okay, when you feel ready, you can just open your eyes. Okay, so how do you feel? Anybody feel more relaxed? Great. If this works for you, then please try and do at least once a day. The mind needs it, the mind deserves it. In our world today, we've all got our toys of technology, receiving so much information. Okay, technology is great. But the greatest technology is our mind. We need to take more care of it. We need to build silence moments into our day-to-day life to allow the mind to breathe. And it's a bit like going from the doing mode, disengaging from the doing mode, and coming to the being mode. We need to be able to do that at will. And one example we use is, it's like, our body has arms and legs, we have limbs, and we choose how to use them. So, for example, now we are sitting, so we're not using our legs. So we are in control of our legs. Now, if you started walking around suddenly without wanting that, then there is a problem. We expect our arms and legs to be in our control. The same way, the mind is one of my non-physical organs. It should be in my control. But we know that for pretty much everyone today, the mind is out of control. When we're stressed, when we're anxious, when we're nervous, when we're angry, when we're jealous, etc., The mind is out of control and we find it difficult to bring it back. That's where the practice is needed. And it's a bit like, training an animal, for example. Let's say there's a dog, a street dog, and you wish for that dog to live in your house. You need to give it training. If you say to it once, okay, sit, is it going to listen? No, because it's used to doing what it wants, where it wants. So if I wish for that dog to live in my house, regular training is needed, so it learns discipline. In the same way, the mind which has the habit of overthinking and generating problems, generating stress, it needs this daily training just to go back from the doing mode to the being mode. Now, one of the ways that we do this, and it's a practice I know some do already, we call it as traffic control for the mind. Now imagine the thoughts in your mind are like the cars in the street. And the question arises, how is the traffic up here? Is it orderly? Is it flowing? Is it coordinated? Or is there a traffic jam in my mind? Thoughts going in different directions. I have to do this, should have done that. He shouldn't talk like this, I forgot about that. Thoughts going in all different directions at the same time, creating a traffic jam. And we know that one car parked in the wrong place can block 100 other cars. So how much time and energy and money are wasted in a traffic jam? The same way, one negative thought, one wasteful thought, one weak thought can block my creativity, block my happiness. So traffic control is like what we have just done, a mini meditation, just to go back to my essence, and that is I am peace. I am a peaceful being. I am a calm being. I am a peaceful soul, coming back to the first reality. And then, feeling more calm, centered and clear, then go back to your meeting, your work, whatever you're doing, and you find you're much more effective when the mind is silent and not disturbing your intellect, which is your decision-making faculty. So, and if it's new for you, you may wish to experiment with doing this twice a day. One mid-morning and one mid-afternoon. For example, 10:30 in the morning and maybe 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, slowing the mind down. It's a bit like those speed humps in the road, which some call as sleeping policemen. When you come to that, you need to slow down. Why? Because when your speed of your car is low, it's easier to control the direction you're going into. In the same way, if I'm able to slow my mind down, I can choose how I want to think. And in terms of our work and our relationships, I can choose to shift from a reaction-based life to a response-based life. When I react, literally, I am out of control. When I respond, I see, I hear, I understand, and I choose how I wish to handle something. So immense benefits in our practical life of living in that state of relaxation and that inner peace. That then connects with the third intelligence. The first was IQ, second one was IC, and the third one, again, of course, everybody's heard of, is EQ, which is our emotional quotient or emotional intelligence. I'll just touch on this, won't go into too much detail, but basically your ability to understand and manage your own emotions, and therefore to be able to understand how other people are feeling. If I can do the first, then I can do the second. If I cannot control my emotions, I will project them onto other people. And then of course relationships become very complicated. And so the question arises, to what degree am I in charge of the way I feel? Now, for all of us, sometimes you get irritated, get a bit upset, a little bit get annoyed. But what's important is how quickly I can lift myself up out of that negative mood, out of that emotional hole I may have fallen into. And here, there are many, many techniques and methods to practice in our lives. And I'll just share one before we move on to the next part. And one thing that's been very useful for me is to remind myself in any situation that the way somebody talks, the way somebody behaves is their choice, but the way I feel is my choice. Am I being consumed by what I don't like about somebody else? Or am I concerned with how I wish to feel and respond? When my mind is consumed by what I don't like, hello stress, hello tension, hello anger. And then of course it's difficult to get out of those emotions, right? But rather remind myself, my peace of mind and my happiness are my personal property, non-negotiable, full stop. It's not about telling this to someone, it's about telling myself. Why? Because the mind wants to react, the mind wants to get irritated. So as you see, in addition to learning, there is something else that we also need to do. Now, what do you think is as important, or maybe even more important than learning? Thinking, okay, all right. Acting, yes. But something else we may not even consider. I feel more important than learning is unlearning. Yeah. We learn many good things from parents, friends, from life, but also we learn many self-limiting habits and tendencies which don't allow the best me to emerge from within. So I feel we need to unlearn what has been mislearned so we can relearn what we should have learned. And the practice of building meditation into your lifestyle really helps with this. And my own experience of 40 plus years is, as we build meditation into a daily lifestyle, you develop the ability to look into yourself and to see where your thoughts are coming from, to see how maybe one wrong belief about something is responsible for a whole set of negative emotions. And that wrong belief could be about myself, or about some person, or about life in general. And it's for this reason that we say that in the life of a meditator, your third eye opens. See, now with these two eyes you see outside, the third eye helps you to look inside and understand the vast universe which exists within you. Now let's take an absurd example. Let's say when you wake up tomorrow morning, an eye has grown at the back of your head. Would your life change? Yeah? The first thing is you can join the circus. But the second thing is, yes, now as you walk down the street, not only can you see what's in front of you, but you can also see what's behind you. Now what's behind you was also there yesterday, but now you can see it. In the same way, when we say your third eye is open, you become aware of what's always been there, but you never realized it. That is, you become aware of how your thoughts are impacting your life. Your attitudes are affecting the relationships in your life. How your thought energy is also responsible for creating circumstances in your life. When you make those connections, you realize if I want the outside to change, I have to start with the inside. You know, we human beings, we have so much power inside us, we just don't know how to use it. In fact, we misuse it. And hence, in the last couple of decades or so, these practices like emotional intelligence, mindfulness, have become more popular because people have begun to realize there is something missing in the equation of life. Now let me come to the last intelligence before moving on to the next part. What do you think that might be? We have IQ, we have IC, we have EQ, and top of the list? I'm preaching to the converted here. You know the answers already. Yeah, spiritual intelligence. And there's no one set definition, but in my view there's two main things this concerns. And this really takes you to the heart of the human experience. One is your sense of identity. Two is your sense of purpose in your life. In other words, who am I and why am I doing what I am doing? And these two questions, as you explore them, they take you on a journey to the engine room of your soul. It helps you to discover your spiritual DNA. Who am I and why am I doing what I am doing? And people who have high SQ, people who work on these things, two signs I've noticed in them. One is they own their motivation. Not just motivation for work, but motivation for everything in life. It's like a red thread which passes through their work life, their home life, their social life. Even though they may fail at something, they don't lose their motivation. And secondly, such people have a deep-seated sense of inner contentment. Even if they fail, even if they're criticized, it doesn't crush them. They learn to be the master of their own contentment. And it's a journey which I think every person needs to go on to explore these two particular things. Now, let's look more closely at what's involved in practicing meditation. And of course there are so many different kinds of meditation out there. But as you would know, the one that we practice in our spiritual university is Raja Yoga meditation. The word itself, meditation, comes from a Latin word, medere, and that means to heal. So meditation is a kind of healing of the mind. Now a person may say, well, my mind is not sick, so I don't need meditation. Well, here is the news. You are sick. The whole world is sick today, in the sense that in the context of true inner wellness, ego is considered a sickness of the soul. Anger is considered a sickness of the soul. So is attachment, possessiveness, greed, the list goes on. And the good news is that this journey of meditation is a return journey. It's not I'm trying to become something new or something unusual. It's a return back to being at peace. Now, I found that wherever one may go in the world, regardless of age, nationality, religion, culture, socio-economic, demographic, pretty much everyone wants the same things. Everybody wants peace of mind. Everybody wants happiness in their hearts. And everybody wants the exchange of love and respect in relationships. Is it the same in Mauritius? I'll take that as a yes. Yeah. Universal. And that's why there are so many books and programs and conferences on learn to relax, discover inner peace, learn to be happy. There are no books on how to be more angry, how to increase the stress in your life, or 10 steps to being miserable. Yeah. Sorry? Yes, yeah, we can. I know at the back you probably can't hear. Maybe I'll come to that in a little while. But this tells us that, our nature is peace. Why do we want peace? Why does a person say, I'm looking for peace, I'm looking for happiness? They don't say, I'm looking for stress, I'm looking for anger. So you look for something if you have lost it. Deep down we know that's how we like to be. But what has happened is, over time, we have forgotten our true inner self, and therefore we've lost touch with what's really our nature, which is peace of mind, happiness, and so on. Before coming to that part, I'd like to share a little model about how meditation works for me in terms of a kind of method or technique. Now, one thing to mention is meditation is a lifestyle, as I mentioned, but also how to develop good concentration. Because most people will say, I try to meditate, but I can't concentrate. I concentrate for like 3 seconds, then I start thinking about, I have to buy something, or did I turn off the cooker, or I have to phone this person. So how to deal with that? I'm going to show a model on the flip chart here, on the board. Hoping you'll be able to see at the back as well. So there are steps involved in being able to concentrate. Because before meditation comes concentration. And before concentration comes something else. So this has been my experience of the building blocks involved in being able to meditate. So 2 things. One is, I'm going to speak this out for those who cannot see. One is visualization. And of course it's similar to what we have just done earlier. You create a visual image and you try to hold it. Some people are visual thinkers. They can concentrate better with visual imagery. And some people are more contemplative. Contemplation. So that's following a series of thoughts, and in the practice we did, we used both. We used visualization and also contemplation. Now, when these 2 things come together, then they help to create that state or that condition known as concentration. Let's just look at that for a moment. What is concentration? Now, Now think back to when you were at school. Now, which subjects did you find it easy to concentrate on? Anyone for history? No, not even, just one person. How about geography? Any geography fans here? Mathematics? All right. Physics? I'm a physics guy. Any physics? Okay, just one. Lunchtime? I think everyone, right? But the lessons which you found, the lessons which you enjoyed seemed to go by very quickly because you enjoyed them. And the lessons which you didn't enjoy, the time seemed to drag. You look at your watch, you look out of the window, you wonder how much longer. So the principle of concentration, where there is interest and there is enjoyment, concentration is natural. So too the mind needs different things at different times. Sometimes the mind needs peace. Other times the mind wants entertainment. Other times the mind needs to experience power or strength. So the mind is like a child. And those of you who are parents here, as you understand your child's psychology, you know how to keep your child busy. The mind is like a wild child today, and the second component of our consciousness is called our intellect. The mind is the child, and the intellect is the parent. Today, for pretty much everyone, the mind is a wild child, and the intellect is a weak parent. Now imagine a wild child and weak parent going to the shopping mall together. What's going to happen? Buy me this, buy me that, I want this, I want the other. And the weak parent saying, oh dear, it's okay, don't be so noisy. But the child does not respect the parent because the parent has no authority. Now think of poor concentration and good concentration. Think of a student who has an examination tomorrow, is trying to study, but cannot focus. So the intellect is saying, tomorrow is an exam, focus, focus, concentrate. The mind is saying, boring, 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 I want to do something else. And so the student says, I cannot concentrate. So the mind represents what I feel like doing. The intellect represents what I should be doing. And when there is a mismatch between the two, concentration is poor. When the two come together, what I should be doing and what I feel like doing, that is called as concentration. The result of concentration is absorption. It goes in, and you remember it. Now, let's take an example. Let's say I place you in front of a television screen, and I ask you to sit in a chair and watch your favorite movie for 2 hours, and I say don't move around much, just sit still and watch. 2 hours, favorite movie. Could you do it? No, not so difficult, right? It's your favorite movie. Okay, let's take a second scenario. Sit in the same chair, look at the same screen, 2 hours, don't move around much. This time the TV is off, nothing showing. Could you do it this time? Yeah. Or more difficult, right? What's the difference between the first scenario and the second scenario? Yeah? In the first scenario, you were watching the film, and therefore your mind was engaged. Second scenario, nothing showing on the screen. So you got bored and felt restless. The question arises, in the first scenario, where was the film happening? The screen was showing you some images and some sounds, and those were stimulating ideas and emotions in your mind. So actually the film was happening in your mind and may have taken you on a roller coaster of emotions. Fear and terror and excitement and joy and so on. So in fact, the TV is not a living thing. You are the living thing, your mind. And it's stimulating ideas and sounds, stimulating thoughts and emotions in your mind. In the same way, in meditation, we are using ideas and thoughts based upon spiritual knowledge, spiritual understanding. And as I learn to introduce those ideas to my mind and learn to focus upon them, this concentration leads to experience. And experience is what we are aiming for in meditation. Concentration leads to the experience of meditation. At this point here, when you're contemplating, it is thinking. But when you reach the meditation part, it's no longer thinking, it is experiencing. Ah, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think I made it worse. Okay. So meditation is not thinking, and meditation is not thinking. Meditation is the experience of selected thoughts. We don't just want to sit and keep thinking, I am peace, I am light, I am a soul. We want to feel it. We want to experience it. But to reach that point, we have to pass through this phase of concentration. And to develop concentration, we have to do exercises. So for example, this traffic control, the visualization exercises. It's rather like if you're exercising your arm muscles. You may lift up a few kilos and find it painful, you can't do it. But the more you practice, the stronger the muscle becomes, so you can hold those kilos comfortably now. And then you can add another kilo and make your muscles even stronger. So too, it's like how to develop the muscle of my intellect through practice. Create a visual image. Can I hold it for 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes? And each time you practice, as the time becomes longer and longer, you find your concentration is improving. And that helps not only with the experience in meditation, but in other areas of your life. Your ability to listen improves. Your ability to focus, your ability to understand, your ability to remember. There are 1,000 benefits of improving concentration, and it's something you can do anytime, not only when you're sitting down, but you may be in a bus, you may be in a train, maybe in a car. You can practice, do these concentration practices wherever you are, and find immense benefits in your own life. Now, just coming to the last thing, how are we doing for time? Last thing is then what to be aware of as we pass through the day-to-day life in order to stay relaxed? Because in this Raj Yoga meditation, we don't want to become relaxed, then get stressed again, and then relax, and then tomorrow again I get stressed, and then relax. But how to live in that state of relaxation, how to live in that state of peace. Now all of that is connected with one particular word, and it is said this is the most important word in any human language. What might that word be? In English it begins with A. The most important word, which is the basis of everything. Sorry, sir? Well, that is an important word, yeah? Yeah, I think I would go with the word awareness. For those who know Hindi, it's the word samriti. Awareness is the basis of everything. Whatever information I place in my awareness is going to impact my attitude, is going to affect my vision, is going to determine my emotional state, is going to influence my choices and decisions, and is going to create my world, my life, my reality. So there are so many things to look at in terms of what is in my awareness. But for now, we'll just look at what is in my awareness about myself. Who am I? So here is a model which some of you, I'm sure, are aware of, to see how we think of ourselves as we pass through our day-to-day life. So these small I's represent an identity. I am, for example, I am a man, or I am a woman, I am from this country, I am from that country, I am from such and such a family, I was educated at such and such a university, I work as XYZ, I have such and such qualifications, I have achieved this and this in my life, I'm good at this, I'm good at that. You know, all these I's. It's like a whole forest of I's that we have created within our awareness. Some of them are larger and some are smaller. And the size of that identity depends on how much you feed it. So for example, ask 3 people, who are you? One will say the nationality. Another may say the religion. The other may say the profession. Why? Depending on which identity you place in your awareness, you are giving energy to that. These may also be described as our ego masks, the pseudo-self. Now what will happen as we pass through day-to-day life is one or other of these masks will be threatened in some way. And the result of this will be an emotional reaction. So let's say, for example, you are a good cook, but you make it into one of your ego masks. I am a good cook. Any good cooks here? Only 2, all right. Now, good to be a good cook, good to be good in everything. But let's say I become proud of it, arrogant about it, and make it one of my ego masks. And one day we all come to your house for a meal, and we take the first bite of food that you spent hours cooking, and we spit it out. We say, oh, that's horrible. Did you cook that? Now, you may experience that comment as being an attack on that particular ego mask. The result of this is there will be some kind of emotional reaction. It could be embarrassment or feeling ashamed, or you could say, there is the door, you may leave now. So any kind of emotional reaction is a result of a perceived attack on one of my ego masks. As long as these ego masks exist, you can never really be at peace. You can never really live relaxed. Now, what to do? Well, ego is a form of darkness. How should you fight darkness? No? Should you fight darkness? No. Do not fight the darkness, but switch on the light. Wait, yeah. Here is the light. The light is that beneath and behind all of these ego masks is the true I, the eternal I, the real I. And that is I, the inner self. I, the Atma. I, the Ru. I, the soul. I, the spiritual energy. And the good news is within this I, already there is peace. Already there is love. Already there is joy, strength, and so on. These things are already there. But in order for them to emerge, I need to start living as this. Rather than living as a nationality or as a religion or as a profession, etc., start living in the awareness, I am a spiritual energy, I am a soul, I am a peaceful soul. The more I spend time living from here, this will emerge and fill my awareness. And then all of these things, these ego identities, will begin to dissolve. The sign that this is happening is you are becoming emotionally more stable, more strong. Things which used to bother you before no longer bother you. Your need for attention or praise begins to reduce. You become emotionally very mature. Now, the smaller ego masks are easier to deal with. The big ones, they will fight you. They will wrestle with you. They'll say, we're not going so easily. And this is called the inner battlefield, where the ego tries to push back. But as we continue to live as this real inner I, all these ego masks eventually, they do begin to vanish. And all the energy I had invested into creating an ego mask, that then comes back to me. So ego was simply a bad investment. And now we withdraw our energy from there and bring it back to the real self. So this peace, this love, this joy, this creativity fills your awareness. And you become a peaceful person, a loving person, a joyful person. And from you, this then radiates out into your life, your relationships, your friends, your colleagues. And therefore your presence becomes like a present for the people in your life. We call this living the inside-out model. Inside out, I awaken this truth inside me. I awaken the love, the peace inside me. I radiate it out in my relationships. The opposite is the outside-in model. I'm looking for attention, looking for respect, looking for recognition. It's like being a beggar. Okay, does that all make sense? Okay, I think we did plan to do another meditation to wrap up. I know our friend here had a comment/stroke question earlier on. Sir, in the front row, you mentioned something earlier. I'll just address.
We already have the hormone expressed. The purpose of the hormone, there's so many other hormones. For example, we talk about stress and all, we have the adrenaline which fights it. If your fear is another issue we have.
Yeah, for those who didn't hear mentioning about hormones, certainly we feel that there is a connection between mind and body. And as the mind becomes more peaceful, then even what the body secretes will be different. So we feel that anything the body is doing is connected to what the mind is feeling, emotionally or even in the subconscious. And that's why our whole focus is on this, that yes, take care of the body, but really pay attention to the thoughts and the emotions which I allow to be generated. So let's do this, just to wrap up. Let's do our second now meditation. And this one goes a bit more deeper into experiencing true self. So again, you may just have your back straight, your feet flat on the floor. And if you would like to experiment with eyes open, then you're welcome to do that. And we have this point of light image behind me. And that's just a symbol to represent the soul energy. So once again, let's sit for a few moments. To experience the peace which is deep inside me. And I start with the question, who am I? Behind the roles I play every day, who am I? Behind the labels I carry in daily life, who am I? Behind the masks I wear, who am I? There is more to me than these labels, these roles and responsibilities, and these masks. And even when I look in the mirror, I see the reflection of my face, my body, but there is more to me than simply this. So I bring my attention towards my face. I bring my attention to the center of my forehead. And here I picture a beautiful star of peaceful light. A wonderful, sparkling, living star of spiritual energy, radiating waves of peace and healing energy. That energy of peace radiates throughout my body. And this wonderful star of peaceful light in the center of my forehead, this is me. This is I, the eternal self. This is I, the inner being of peace. This is I, the soul. I, the soul, I am light. I, the soul, I am eternal. I, the soul, I am peace. Peace is my deepest nature. Peace is my true property. This peace has always been inside me. Let me live in this awareness. I am a peaceful being. I am a peaceful soul. Keeping this peace with me, I now return to the awareness of this room here.
Well balanced. Where are you, inside, outside? I think there's a good atmosphere coming up. Nice fragrance. Thank you for being present. So those who wish to get updates of our future events, please scan the QR code at the registration desk. Okay? So by the way, we are having 2 events in August. There will be 2 retreats. It's going to be held at our residential retreat in Palma. The first one will be the second weekend of August. It's going to be silence and intuition. So those who have picked up cues and who have picked up something to take away with you, I think it can be something for you to probe and go deeper in that. And the second one is the principles of inner leadership. Okay? Means the other title we have put is Leading from Within. So I think you have got a lot of room, a lot of cues today which you are taking away with you. Am I right? Yeah? So to pick up, to continue that trend in your inner world, we're going to give each one of you a blessing. Brother Yogesh is going to hand it over to you personally. So don't leave your blessing before you go. Blessings always are welcome, isn't it? No, it's not August, sorry. Sister Chaya reminded me. It's going to be in July. The second weekend of July and the last weekend of July.